All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, fresh off of his buyout from the Phoenix Suns, All-Star guard Bradley Beal has a new basketball home as he'll remain in the Pacific Division, but now he's going to be a member of the Los Angeles Clippers. Beal is reportedly heading to the Clippers on a 2-year deal for 11 million as he looks to resurrect his career. The reason why I say this is because after 9 seasons with the Washington Wizards, where Beal averaged more than 22 points per game, and he was also a 3-time All-Star there, things never worked out for him in Phoenix, where he was a third banana for the last 2 years behind Kevin Durant and Devin Booker in the pecking order. And like I said going in, that Beal was going to be a fish out of water in Phoenix because for so many years he was the big fish in a small pond with the Wizards because nobody really pays attention to the Wizards. And he wasn't ready for the spotlight to be now thrown into the Suns where they had championship expectations. And of course, if you watch the Suns the last couple of years, you know under those championship expectations, they wilted with their failed big three. Okay, but will joining the Clippers see Bradley Beal have more success than he did with the Suns? It's a possibility. Okay, you're talking about now for Beal teaming up with James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. But for me, with my big money, I'm like this. You look at Brad Beal going to the Clippers. It's another former All-Star caliber player that the Clippers are bringing in. When are the Clippers going to realize that this simply does not work? Brad Beal is another ball dominating guard, and the Clippers already have several guys like that at their disposal. So I'm really not sure how Brad Beal is going to have that big time impact for the Clippers. Now, in recent years, we've seen Los Angeles try it with Kawhi, Paul George, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and countless others. And we're going on 4 years now and counting since the Clippers could even say that they got out of the first round. Okay. So far this summer, the Clippers signed center Brook Lopez. They also picked up big man John Collins in a three-team trade. And in that three-team trade, the Clippers also sent Norman Powell to the Miami Heat. And I know that there were rumors about the Clippers and Powell being able to agree on an extension. But nonetheless, before we go any further, you got to ask yourself, where would last season's version of the Clippers have been without the contributions of Norman Powell? Okay, they are going to miss him. You look at it, the Clippers' game plan for Kawhi coming into the season. The bottom line is this: good luck if you can get 41 games out of Kawhi Leonard during the regular season, which means that the onus is going to be on James Harden and it's going to be on Brad Beal. This is why I think Brad Beal is going to have some type of an opportunity to see his production level go up with the Clippers in comparison to the Suns, just due to the fact that Kawhi Leonard is not going to be there all the time. Okay, but nonetheless, regardless of that, the Clippers just seem to be an organization that's going around in circles because at the end of the day, the acquisition of Bradley Beal really doesn't push the needle. The Clippers are good enough to make the playoffs, but you have to ask yourself, are the Clippers better than the top teams in the Western Conference? And the answer is no. They're not better than Oklahoma City. They're not better than the Denver Nuggets. They're not better than the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're not better than the Houston Rockets, okay, who just picked up Kevin Durant. So at this point for the Clippers, all this is just reshuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic. Why? Because bringing in Brad Beal is just another name for them. And it's just all he is just another former All Star that's bringing his past accolades with him to Inglewood. It's not going to amount to that much. For me, personally, I feel that the Clippers should look to be rebuilding as opposed to retooling. That's just my personal opinion. That's clearly not the case. It's one of those, if you're Steve Ballmer, you're going into year number two in your new arena, the Intuit Dome, and you want to give people a reason to purchase tickets. Uh, but at the end of the day, I know Steve Ballmer has tried and attempted to change the culture since he purchased the Clippers from Donald Sterling about a decade ago, or a little bit more, give or take. But at the end of the day, the Clippers are still the Clippers. And the reason why I say this, the Lakers at this point could go through a full on rebuild and they would still be championship contenders before the Clippers are because the Clippers simply cannot figure it out. For me, again, you're not gonna you're never this question is never going to go away because the what if game for the Clippers. What if they had never made that trade for Paul George with OKC? Because remember, they had SGA, they traded him, and of course, one of the first round picks that the Clippers sent to Oklahoma City turned out to be Jalen Williams, and we saw how important the both of those two young men were to the Thunder's championship just last month. Is Steve Ballmer, the Clippers, the wealthy Clippers owner, is he simply trying to put a square peg into a round hole? It's one of those for me. The Clippers are an organization that I think they're a year or two late, and the reason why I say this, I think that they're a year or two late to the party as far as figuring it out that what they are attempting to do is not going to work. And of course, in the lexicon that is professional sports, sometimes you want to be a year or two early as opposed to being a year or two late. And unfortunately for the Clippers, they are on that year or two late bus. And, for me with Steve Ballmer, he's a guy I feel, in my opinion, he's putting too much faith in the likes of Lawrence Frank and company to run his organization. And for all of this championship talk, it's hindering that because the Clippers don't have a championship team. Should anybody take this Clippers team seriously? Well, not as far as being a championship contender. And like I said before, the Clippers can be a playoff team. They can get to the first round. And honestly, I'm not even going to put it in writing or in ink rather that the Clippers have what it takes to go out there and even win a playoff series. Credit to Ty Lue as the Clippers head coach for getting the most out of this team, but you are delusional if you think that the Clippers are championship contenders. I've said this before and I'll say it again. We've simply run out of ways to go out there and win with James Harden. You think about the Hall of Fame talent that James Harden has had to work with over the years, whether it's OKC, Houston, or the Clippers. And of course, he still can't get it done. And at the end of the day, you cannot count on Kawhi Leonard to be healthy. And of course, Brad Beal is a guy that he'll get you 25 points when nobody's paying attention, but he's not going to be that guy when the chips are pushed to the middle of the table. So at the end of the day, it's a new start for Bradley Beal. The Clippers got him on the cheap because, of course, he got bought out from Phoenix. He's going to have some opportunities to increase his scoring productivity in comparison to what we saw in Phoenix, just due to the fact that, like I said before, you cannot count on Kawhi Leonard being healthy, of course, for a full 82 game slate, which means it's going to be James Harden and Bradley Beal carrying the load of the offense. But again, two ball dominating ISO players. Good luck for everybody else on that team. Not a lot of high expectations for me with the Clippers. This is a move that really doesn't push the needle. And at the end of the day, it simply sums up who the Clippers are. They'll bring in the big former names, but at the end of the day, it's not enough to get them any closer than they already are to winning a championship. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw, you know what to do. Please feel free to hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. And like I always say, it is greatly appreciated. Also, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on. social media. And you can also check us out on Instagram at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Give me that follow. I'll give you that follow right back. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.